I am here today with Doug Ayers, the fire chief of the city of St. Mary's, and we just want to touch base with the community about Fire Prevention Week. So Doug's going to give us a little info on Fire Prevention Week and history.
Okay, Fire Prevention Week has been sponsored by the National Fire Protection Agency since 1922. It was officially given this week in 1925, and the reason that it is in October is because October 8th of 1871 is when the Great Chicago Fire occurred, and Fire Prevention Week is always during the week that has October 9th in it, because that is when the fire was put out.
It's a good way to remember things. Every little holiday has its way of remembering it, and that's their signature. So part of Fire Prevention Week, when I was doing a little research on my end, was getting your family together and talking about an escape plan. And so when someone is doing that, what do you guys as firefighters recommend that a family looks at putting that together, especially if you don't have one?
Okay, recommended fire escape plan, first of all, is you always want to have 2 ways out of every room. You also want to make sure that you have smoke alarms, a minimum of 1 on every level of the home and 1 in every bedroom. If you have, bedrooms at the end of a hallway, putting 1 outside of, you have 3 bedrooms right at the end of the hallway, having 1 right outside the bedrooms, that can be sufficient. Designating a meeting place outside of the home so everybody knows where to meet, whether that be at a mailbox, at a neighbor's house, at a flagpole. That way they know that everybody got out, and if anybody's missing, once the fire department gets there, they can let them know Johnny's not here, his bedroom is at the back corner of the 2nd floor.
Right. I remember last year about this time, my girls coming home from school and they're like, "Mom, what's our fire escape plan?" And I was like, "Oh, that's not a good mom moment for me." So we sat down as a family and we talked about it, and we talked about our meeting spot and where that's at around our house. We actually chose to go to the neighbor's house because we are in town, so that way we know they're far enough away from the house because our lots aren't as big there. So those types of things to consider, and sometimes it's our kids that remind us that we need to have these things, and we're thankful for people like you that go into the schools and talk to them about that stuff, reminding them to remind us as adults that stuff is important. So some other things we want to talk about is maybe some of the most common residential fires, and maybe how those could be prevented. I know, like we were joking earlier, not very good job security if we're preventing fires, but we also don't want them either, so.
Right. So the number 1 residential fire is caused by cooking, followed by heating and electrical and, candles. So it's the stuff that you use all the time. And especially with this being October and going into the winter months, people are going to be using space heaters and things like that. You want to make sure that you keep everything 3 feet away from the heater. That way, less likely than anything catching on fire. You also want to make sure that that space heater has what's called tip-over protection, which means if it gets knocked over, it automatically shuts off.
Right. So I'm just thinking, because you were talking about being 3 feet away, so a lot of people will plug them into the wall, kind of keep it near a window, but make sure there's not a curtain hanging down,
right.
That sort of thing too. And then the tip over protection, like you said, that's a huge thing now too, that to look for. So.
And then, the candles, make sure you blow it out before you leave the house. Again, that you don't have curtains or anything, hanging over the candles, things like that. A lot of it is, quite frankly, common sense. Take a second and look and, ask yourself, could this potentially start a fire? And if it could, remove it.
Yeah. And I burn a lot of candles too at home, and so something I notice is when it gets down so far, it gets kind of like that spark effect too towards the bottom. So I leave probably a good inch of my wax, and once it gets down to that last inch, I just toss it at that point just because I know it could spark up or flare.
Right.
I've seen that before in candles too, so just on that side note of that. So why don't you tell us too a little bit more about what the fire department does besides go on fire runs and EMS and that sort of thing? What a day entails for a firefighter?
Okay, well, one of the first things they do, obviously they come to work, they get, their uniforms on, they get prepared for the day, do vehicle checks, things like that. But one of the first things that gets done is we have what's called Operation Safeguard. And that is, we have a list of folks that we call in the morning to make sure they're okay. Most of them elderly, some of them might have some physical challenges, things like that. And they're set up at 8:30, 9:30, and 9. Sorry, 8:30, 9, and 9:30. So, we just give them a quick call. How is everything today? And, everything's fine. We hang up and go on. So that's one of the first things that gets done for the day. And that's something that we provide to the community that not all departments do. Some departments have something similar to that. It's something we've been doing when I started back in '99, it was already in place. And we're continuing it. And there has been times that we've made phone calls, they didn't answer, and we have keys to the residence. We go and we went in and they were laying on the floor and they had fallen the night before. So this is a way to, make sure that they get checked, and had we not called to check on them, the outcome could have been catastrophic. So then, throughout the day we've got, we have inspectors that go out and do fire safety inspections. Obviously it's October, we're doing fire prevention week. We go out and flow test the hydrants and make sure that they're all working properly. All of our equipment has to get tested throughout the year. So all year long, something's getting tested, whether it be hose, hydrants, our rescue cutters, our cardiac monitors, things like that. Now, some of that we have people come in, but we have to be here to monitor that they're getting tested and things like that.
What about any other programs? I drive by sometimes and I see some little preschoolers lined up on the wall over here watching that sort of stuff happen. What other kind of community outreach stuff?
So yeah, we have preschool and kindergarten generally around October. We also have Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, other clubs. They'll call and ask if they can take a tour of the department, and we'll bring them in, show them the equipment, get gear out. Sometimes we'll pull trucks out, we'll spray, let them spray some water out with a hose.
I think that's fun for anybody, even the big kids, to spray the water because we just don't need to do it. We're on a tour or something small like that.
Yeah, and occasionally if you see somebody driving by, their car might get wet. Got to have a little bit of fun, but it's good interaction with the community, and doors are up. We've had people just stop in. Moms taking their kids for a walk, and they'll just stop in. Hey, is it okay if we take a look around? And so one of our guys, they'll stop what they're doing and show them the station.
That's really cool. Anything else that you wanted to share today? Do we want to take a walk around the station and peek inside a truck or something like that?
We can do that if you'd like. I just want to remind everybody with, again, it's Fire Prevention Week. Check your smoke alarms. Everybody knows that when you change your clocks, you're supposed to change your batteries. But you should also, go through and check them once a month. Just push the test button, make sure it's working. And again, use common sense. Be safe. Nick Shady, he came to us from Jackson Center, and he's currently going through paramedic program. He's an EMTB, and he does have his firefighter level 2. So we've got him going through Clark State, getting his paramedic training in, so that he's got all the same qualifications that the rest of us have.
Perfect.